Hey friends, it's Elizabeth Morse. I am coming to you with a super fun project that we have been working on at the Boot Heel Arts Garden Shed. And as you can see here, I have a huge plastic bucket, a huge pail, and it is filled with soil. So what we're going to do today is we're making grow buckets, and this is a great way to get interested in gardening, a great way to have some additional fresh food for your family, and super fun, super easy to set up. Y'all, I believe, picked up these grow bucket kits, and it should have had soil. Your bucket has a hole or two drilled in the bottom for drainage, and then you should have a tomato plant and some seeds, and we have got carrots, radishes, and some beans. And what we're going to do, you can really kind of customize grow buckets in a lot of ways. Here where I live, the Master Gardener program actually does grow buckets that have tomatoes and herbs, sometimes peppers, and that's great. We thought this would be really fun when we came up with the project because tomatoes, we just all love tomatoes, and they're such a versatile thing. Beans, of course, for protein, and then carrots and radishes. Radishes, this is really like for the instant gratification for your kiddos. It's a great thing to eat. They're delicious, but these guys grow super quickly. So if you're just kind of getting started with gardening and you're trying to get your family interested, it's nice to have something that grows fast and that the kids can harvest and eat. And that's awesome. And then we also chose carrots, a root vegetable, because first of all, these plants all work together. Some plants are not super excited about being planted next to each other, but these all work. And while we've got several things that are growing up high, the beans and the tomatoes will get tall. Then we've got the radishes, which will kind of just sit near the surface. But then we've got all this space down below, and that's a great place to do a root vegetable. So we thought carrots would be the best one to choose. And what you're going to do is you're going to fill your bucket with the soil, and we're going to just go ahead and make sure that we've got an even growing surface. And then this is really easy. What I like to do is we're going to plant basically the front half, okay, so like a pie shape, the front half and the back half. And in the back, we're going to divide it in two. So a quarter, we're going to put our tomato here. We're going to plant a few bean seeds here, carrots all in the middle, and then we're going to intersperse the radishes kind of all the way around the perimeter. And that way you'll know when these guys grow, radishes actually kind of push up out of the ground, so you'll see that they're red, and you'll know that those are ready and that they are not, in fact, carrots. But that way everything has its own space to grow. As the beans and the tomato get a little bit taller, you're going to want to put a stake, either a yardstick, a bamboo skewer, something like that, and you can kind of stake your plants up, especially the beans. The tomato might be okay, but the beans for sure. This is a pole bean, and they're going to want to have a little structure. So not a big deal. You can just maybe use a twist tie loosely and secure those, and that's it. So we'll start with these beans. We've got in my packet here, and yours might be a little different, but mine says 6 to 8 days for germination, which is great, and because that'll come up pretty quickly. And typically we're going to put these 1.5 inches into the soil. I'm going to do 3 because 3 is plenty. And the cool thing about these gardens is if you don't have great luck, or you decide you want to grow something else, they're pretty portable, and you can manipulate what you're growing. You can just pull it out, put something else in. So you'll have some leftover seeds. I'm going to take 3, and on this corner of the bucket, I'm just going to use my finger, poke in 3 holes, 1.5 inches deep, drop in my seeds, and that's it. Okay, so that's planted. Then I'm going to dig a little bitty hole here for my tomato, and there is just nothing better. So I'm going to tip this out, kind of squeeze that a little bit, and then we've got the root ball there. You're just going to put that in and press it in place. See, that was super easy. Now I'm going to make a row. I'm just going to take my spoon or your knife, whatever you're using, your finger, and make a couple rows in this front half. And then the directions say on this guy that you want to plant them 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch, and carrot seeds are really small, so that's not a big deal, but we're gonna plant them in a row and have 4 seeds per inch. So you can see these are pretty tiny, these little guys. And these seeds actually have a little bit of a coating on them. I don't know if you can see that. Carrot seeds are normally black, but these have a little coating just to help you see where you're putting them and make sure that they are a little bigger. Makes them easier to handle. Okay, so I'm just dropping these every so often in the little rut that I made. And here, my gosh, this is so simple. And this is just a really fun thing to do, especially in the summertime, you know, when the kids are home and they're looking for stuff to do. It's really neat for you to be able to have this, you know, maybe even just outside your front or your back door, on your patio, on your balcony, and gives the kids, you know, a little responsibility. They can go out, check for weeds, water, check to see the progress. Just kind of fun. Okay, so I've got, I'm gonna show you. See, they're just in those little ruts there. And I'm gonna just gently push this great soil back over the top. When you're making garden buckets, it's important, you definitely don't want to use soil from outside. If you can help it, it's great to start with something. This guy is Miracle Grow that we're using here, and it's got some nutrients in it and things. But if you're pulling things from outside, a lot of times plants have already depleted the nutrients, and since they're in a bucket, it's nice to use something that's had minerals and fertilizer added to it, because it can't pull, the plants can't pull anything from the ground, and then when the minerals are used up, they're used up. So if you're starting with soil that's already been depleted, also you run the risk of getting bugs, and you want to avoid that if you can. Okay, so we've got our tomato plant here, we've got our beans planted here, and then we've got 2 rows of carrots. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around the edge, because this is also nice as the plants come up, and maybe you're not familiar with what they look like, and that doesn't really matter. You can know that you've planted all the radishes in a little ring. And that also is great if you've got little helpers, because their little hands can just go in and pull out a radish or 2, and they're not going to get in here and mess with your plants that are also growing. So same thing. Normally these are not like this, but these have a little bit of coating on it. This is a radish called Cherry Bell, and they are really yummy. One of my very favorite sandwiches, and you might think this sounds weird, but one of my very favorite sandwiches is white bread with a little butter on it and really thin slices of radishes. It's really good. I know it sounds weird, but I think you'll like it if you try it. Okay, so these guys are planted, and all around the circle. If you've got extras, save them, because these germinate in, and again, these are spaced about 1 inch apart, and it takes 3-ish weeks, 2 to 3 weeks before you'll be able to pull one out. So that's really not very long compared to the other things in your garden bucket. Again, I'm gonna cover these guys up just with a little tiny bit of dirt, and this soil, I moistened it before I used it. Your soil might come out of the bag already moist enough. You do want to not let these obviously dry out all the way, but you don't want to overwater either. And you'll be able to tell when the soil, you'll touch it, and if it feels dry, like the first inch or so, you're just gonna to water your plant, I'd say, or your bucket, maybe twice a week. Depends on how hot it is where you live and how much sun your planters are getting. But I would take this guy and I would just set it outside my back door in a sunny spot. You want something that's going to get 6 hours of sun a day. And I'll be really, really excited to see if you all have success. I think you will. I would love it if you all take pictures and post them at the Boot Heel Arts Garden Shed website or Facebook page. That would be super fun. Thank you so much. I hope you all are excited about this project. There's so many different things you can do. Try these seeds and these plants, and then once they're spent, try some others and see what combinations you can come up with and enjoy having fresh things for your family. Take care.